Okay, everyone, welcome to our second week, and I hope that you all are doing well. If you didn't watch my first video, I do want to remind you that these videos move a little bit quickly through some of the slides that I'd like to highlight for you while I am out. However, if you need to pause the video, please make sure that you do so. Although there's some stuff on your screen that we're going to go over right now, the first thing that I'd like to do is look at your weekly overview and highlight some of the things that are coming up. You should have received a packet that looks like this from your substitute, and it's set up in the same way that it was last week. But let's take a look at the topics that you'll be covering this week. On Monday, or the first day of this packet, you guys are going to be looking at child labor, and then we're going to get into a topic that can be a little bit tricky, known as socialism and Marxism. You do have a crash course due to me when you start socialism and Marxism. And then you'll be reviewing the Industrial Revolution, reviewing socialism and Marxism, and you'll be taking a quiz as well as watching a crash course that will get you started on imperialism, which is a totally different topic altogether. If you have any questions about the structure of the packet, ask your substitute or please reach out to me, but please be understanding if there is a delay in my response time. Okay, so let's jump back to this slide. When we talk about the Industrial Revolution, we see the rise of something known as industrial capitalism. This is where individuals or corporations make profit. They make money through large-scale productions. Because of the Industrial Revolution, we start to see the rise of upper middle classes, also the proletariat class, which will become important for someone like Karl Marx, who will introduce the idea of Marxism, socialism, aka communism. When we talk about the benefits of industrial capitalism, it's good for people to be able to earn money because it rewards hard work and innovation. So if you are willing to put a lot of hard work into something, you do have the potential to make money back. Successful businesses will thrive and unsuccessful ones will die out. So if your business is producing a product that people really like and want to buy, you will do well. But if it's not, then you will not do well and you'll be forced to close. If we think about this in modern times, we can think about something like how people are very willing to buy Apple products. We really like Apple products. Apple does very well as a company typically. And then we can think about any number of stores that have since had to shut down because people don't buy stuff from there anymore. Like I know Sears is closing, which was a staple in like my grandparents' day. So successful businesses will do well and will thrive. Unsuccessful ones will not. Also, there's limited government interference in the economy, meaning the government isn't setting a lot of rules for businesses. Disadvantages, however, are all of these things listed on the screen. It's bad for the environment, tends to lead to a lot of pollution. Workers are abused, and there's also price monopolies, meaning that if only one place or company sells something, then they have the right to set prices. So if we can only buy sneakers from Nike, Nike is the only company, they have a monopoly, then Nike could, in theory, charge us like $500 for a pair of sneakers. So it's not really good for consumers. Also, because of all of these different changes with industrial capitalism, we see divisions between wealthy and poor in society. Large gaps. This all will lead to the rise of something that we call Marxist socialism. Karl Marx, the founder of this, he said that we should attempt to bring capitalism down. He hated capitalism. He hated people being able to make their own money. He hated how businesses abused workers. So his slogan was "Workers of the world unite." He introduces two things. He introduces this idea of unions. We have unions today, like the teachers union, which I'm a part of, where workers band together to demand better working conditions. And then there's also a strike. This is when workers stop working. It pressures employers because your employers want you to work because that's how they make money. So Marxist socialism introduces these ideas. Additionally, when we talk about Karl Marx, this is a little bit of his background. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, they wrote this document, this book, called the Communist Manifesto. Communism overall is a form of socialism and it sees a class struggle between employers and employees as inevitable. Employers are always going to abuse their employees. Employees will never be happy with their employers. He lists these two terms, which are very important: the bourgeoisie, the factory owners, versus the proletariat. So this will come up over and over again in Marx's writing, especially in his excerpts of the Communist Manifesto. If you're kind of thinking, oh, I didn't really know what that term socialism is, let's go back to this for a second. So socialism is a system in which society as a whole owns the mean of production, i.e. businesses. That is, everyone in theory owns all of the businesses. So you would think it would create a society where everyone is equal. And in a perfect system of socialism, that's what they believed would happen. Benefits: businesses are owned by the community for the good of the people. It distributes wealth evenly and leads to things like equal access to food, education, and healthcare. However, it's bad because it provides the government with too much control. In a socialist system, the government essentially has to set it up and control the economy as well as the people's lives. It also limits the ability of workers, because why do people want to work any harder if, regardless of how hard they work, they're still not going to make a lot of money? So one could argue that there's not an incentive to motivate people to achieve under a socialist system, and communism is one of the branches of such. A few more things to highlight about communism, going back to Karl Marx. Karl Marx's big ideas said that the bourgeoisie, those factory owners, they have to exploit or abuse the proletariat because that's how they make a profit. Karl Marx wanted the proletariat to rise up and overthrow the bourgeoisie, take the money that was being made and distribute it equally to everyone. Lots of people think this is a really good idea. Most of my students say, oh, that doesn't sound so bad. It sounds good that everyone would be equal. However, communism often does not play out this way in some of the places that adopt it. We will see that a little bit more later in the year when I come back from being on leave. All right, this can be a really tricky topic, so please reach out with questions. Make sure you go back if you need to and complete your crash course, and that might be helpful. And I hope you all are doing well. I will have another video ready for you next week. Have a good week.